Instead of making a New Year's resolution, who even follows those, I really like Tim Ferriss's idea of doing a year-end review to see what went right and what went wrong. It's a little tough to say. But from there, you can then determine what kind of adjustments you need to make for 2022, and it puts less pressure on you than just having like a one set goal and you need to follow it no matter what. Last year, I did this for the first time for my personal life. I wrote on a piece of paper some of the wins that I had and some of the losses, and then on New Year's Eve, I went for a hike and I burned it. It was really a pretty cool thing to do, and if I can find it, I'll link down below the video of Tim Ferriss explaining how he does this review. But this year I want to apply that same methodology to my trading because I think it is really effective, and if you want to make changes to your trading and make improvements, I think it is a good way to go about things. So that's what I'm gonna do, minus the burning, and I'll apply it to my trading. So if you're also hoping to improve your trading in 2022, grab a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, whatever suits your fancy, whatever it is, grab something and let's chat about it. Okay, first off, what are some things that I want to continue doing? For starters, in 2022, in 2021, we're not 2022 just yet. In 2021, I really feel like I solidified my trading strategy. I honed in on it and I really got comfortable with what's required for me to take a trade and also what's required for me to not take a trade. So in 2022, I am not looking to do a full 180, totally change my strategy, mix up everything, go back to the drawing board. That is not what I am trying to do next year. I'm confident in my analysis. I have a good foundational understanding regarding fundamentals, and my risk management is also really on point. It's actually gotten to the point where I might need to actually start increasing my risk a little bit. I've gone from one extreme of risking too much and maxing out the credit card.
Sides? Sides? $26,000 worth of sides? What did he say?
To the complete opposite of risking like 0.25% a trade. So maybe that is something that I need to improve on slightly next year. Maybe increasing my risk just slightly. But there are three main things that I want to improve on in 2022, and my risk management isn't exactly one of them. For starters, the first thing that I want to improve on in 2022 is setting my pending orders, how I set my pending orders. So for those of you that have been watching the channel for a little while, you are well aware that I never use a market open, and I highly recommend that you maybe try out pending orders if you're not used to them. They've totally transformed my trading and made me a much better trader. But lately, especially near the end of the year, I maybe struggled a little bit with setting the pending orders. For starters, sometimes I just didn't set pendings, which there is no excuse for. I do have a mentorship program where I help students that are at level 2 or level 3 come up to level 4 or 5 where I'm at, and helping these students doing a lot of private one-on-one video calls. I'm always constantly deleting my charts, redrawing them with them, deleting them again, and so on and so forth. And so I got a little bit lazy in terms of setting my pendings. I would see an area that looked really good and I would just think to myself, oh, I'll set it later. Don't worry, we're still 100 pips away. Then we would get a big spike overnight. It would hit the area perfectly, would do tons of pips, and I was just left on the sidelines, not actually in the trade. So I need to be more disciplined with setting my pendings, and on top of that, I need to improve where I am setting the pendings as well. So normally, if you're going textbook style, you would need to set your pending on the first confluence, and I would say maybe I got a little bit greedy and I stopped doing that. Some of the best success that I've had in trading was earlier on this year when I would split the pending and I would put the first half of my order just below, about 5 pips below or above, depending on the trend, the first confluence, and then I would set my other half of the pending order on the main confluences. And I got away from doing that. Instead of splitting it, I just put one in, and maybe in the new year I'm gonna go back to splitting it to really make sure that I'm actually getting into these trades, because the last few months of this year, there's been a lot of setups that worked out absolutely perfectly, but they just missed me by a couple of pips, and that is always frustrating. So you need to make sure that you're setting your pending order just below those first few confluences, just a few pips below those first few confluences, in case the market comes up and doesn't fully hit those confluences that you're looking at. A good example of this is 1.97 on GN. Such a nice level, monthly confluences, super strong key level, and that trade worked not once but twice. But neither of those times did the market actually come all the way up to 1.97 and hit that price. It actually came just below. So if your pending was 5 to 10 pips below that area, you would have gotten into that trade most likely both times, and you would have been running to the bank.
Oh, look, I can give you these and you can roll them yourself. You want me to roll 6,000 of these? What, should I quit my job?
So that is the first thing that I need to work on in 2022. I need to be more disciplined with setting my pendings, making sure that I'm setting them, and then really pinpointing where I am placing them. The second thing that I need to work on in 2022 is allowing the strategy to work out. Now, this is not the weakest part of my trading. This really relates to psychology, but it's something that I want to keep in mind and continue improving on. I'm of the mindset that there's not a ton of forex books out there that are going to be super helpful for your trading, but I do think trading in the zone is something that is fantastic for psychology and mindset. And I hate to admit it, but I've never actually finished the book. I used to read it on a PDF on my laptop, and then I would lose the page and I never finished it. But all that to say, in the book, Mark Douglas, I think that's the name of the author, but the author of Trading in the Zone talks about how trading needs to be approached very much like a casino. A casino has an edge, and that edge plays out over time. Now, because the edge plays out over time, the casino is not concerned whatsoever about the next table or the table after that or the tables that take place tomorrow. The casino understands that their edge and therefore their profitability will play out over the long run. So they are interested in the outcome of all of the tables at the casino by the end of the year, by the end of the next 5 years. And to apply that to our trading, it really goes to show that our next trade is not important. The next 5 trades is not important. It's the next 100 trades that are important. So based on your strategy and your win rate, it is very statistically probable and sometimes even likely that you will experience losses, consecutive losses of 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 trades. FTMO has a really great equity simulator that you can use for free on their website. You can put in your stats and then it will show what is the worst possible outcome that you could experience over X amount of trades. That is an amazing exercise to do because statistically it is possible that you could lose 7 trades in a row, and that is totally normal. But by the 5th or 6th trade, you're probably thinking that you are using the worst forex strategy in the world, but that is just not the case. It's just a statistical probability that that might happen, or it's even likely that it could happen. And so there's been times when I have experienced a drawdown or consecutive losers, and then I might think that I need to tweak my trading or I'm doing something wrong, but that is just not how trading works, or that is just not how successful, profitable trading needs to be. You need to think about your trading over a long enough time period, over a large enough sample size, and that is how you're going to make the money. So you need to always stick with your strategy, and that is something that I'm going to really be keeping in the back of my mind as we move into 2022. The third improvement that I really want to make in my trading is getting back into swing trading a little more. For those of you, again, that have been watching the channel for a while, you know that I took the Apex Paragon course about 3 years ago now. It was an incredibly expensive course in Montreal at a very fancy hotel. It was over $5,000, and I have to say, some of the best trading that I ever did was after that course. I traded demo just afterwards. I was risking 2% a trade, and I doubled that account in just 2.5 months, again remaining very risk managed. And the way to do that, or the way I did it, was by adding on positions to winning trades. And how I've been trading lately for most of 2021 was a smaller trades. I did sometimes catch a larger move, which helped me pass some of my FTMO challenges, but for the most part I was catching 50 or 30 pips, and that's totally fine. Your win rate will be much higher. It is easier than swing trading, but I think combining the two will really create the best environment for the best success. The best trading I've ever done was doing this swing style of trading, and so in 2022 I would like to do a little bit more of it. What's difficult about it is there is a much stronger component of fundamentals in that style of trading. For the most part, you need to know whether a currency is going up or down before you even look at the chart, and that can be something that is very difficult to do. But again, if you're going to double your account in 2.5, 3 months risking 2%, or double your account every 6 months risking just 1%, then that work is totally worth it. And I've gotten away from doing that. So I'm gonna start looking at the news a little bit more closely. I'm gonna be looking at higher time frame setups, so monthly, weekly, even daily, and looking at these major zones just like I've been doing, but instead of trying to target 30 or 50 pips, I'll be happier. I will try to be happier with potentially hitting a break-even trade, but holding on to it for a potential larger gain. So for example, I would hold on to a trade, potentially hoping for 100, 200 pips, and willing to take on the risk that even if I'm up, say 70 pips, it could come back up to break even and close me out. So that is the risk you take with swing trading, but I think it is a risk worth taking, and that's what I'm going to be working on in 2022. Setting my pendings, allowing my strategy to play out, and getting back into swing trading. These are the three main things that I'm going to be working on in 2022. I would love to hear if any of these line up with some of the improvements that you are hoping to make as we move into the new year. My goal is to share my journey with you as much as possible, with the hope that it will somehow improve your trading and help you on your journey as well. As I always like to say, I am not an expert. I make lots of mistakes, but I feel like I'm at level 4 or 5, and if you are at a level below that, well then my goal is to help bring you up to where I am at. So hopefully by making these improvements and continuing to work on my trading, by the end of 2022, I'll feel like perhaps I'm more of a 6 or a 7. So all of that to say, let me know what type of videos you would like me to make in 2022 that will most help you with your trading. If you're still here, as always, you have my gratitude. I'll see you guys in the next video. I will see you guys in the new year, and until then, peace.